Welcome to Middlesex Moments, the radio program and podcast produced by faculty, staff, and students at Middlesex Community College. I'm Dr. Eva Jones, professor of English at the college, and I'm your host for today's show. As always, Middlesex Moments comes to you from the radio and television studios in the Center for New Media located on the main campus of Middlesex Community College in Middletown, Connecticut. With me today is the student club SPEAK, which is an acronym for Students Promoting Equality, Acceptance, and Knowledge.
Hi, my name is JC Long. I am a student here at Middlesex, and I'm the treasurer and secretary of SPEAK.
Hello, my name is Emily Raphael. I'm the vice president of SPEAK and also a student here at Middlesex Community College.
I'm Sue Lugley. I'm the co-advisor for the SPEAK group. I teach business and run the business administration and marketing program.
Great. Thanks, guys, for coming today on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Great, yeah.
So there's a little delay there. That was a satellite delay. So
That's all right. Well, today we're going to talk about what SPEAK is. And SPEAK is actually something that we call a GSA in society. What does that mean?
Well, GSA stands for Gay Straight Alliance. It's often held in a lot of high schools.
I know my high school had one. I wasn't out in high school, so I never showed up. But
I didn't know I was in high school.
Oh.
So what high schools did you guys go to?
I attended Lyman Hall High School of Wallingford.
I'm from Cromwell. Go Panthers! If you're from Cromwell listening, you got what that meant, and that's totally our chant.
So you guys both had gay straight alliances at your high schools, but you weren't necessarily involved.
Not entirely, no.
So why don't you tell the listeners why you might not have been involved, or what maybe that group meant to your high school community at the time?
So at my high school, if you were somebody who is part of the Gay Straight Alliance, you were sort of outed for being they're part of the gay club. Even though I was one of the art kids, so I was friends with all of the the gay and trans people at my school, but for some reason going that extra step was kind of particularly scary for someone who wasn't necessarily as confident in a lot of aspects of their life. So for me it was I support my friends, but I'm not it was always a fear of getting targeted, and it's I think a fear for a lot of people in GSAs is that fear of now I'm an activist. I'm actually dating someone who's the president of their GSA, so they were telling me that for them their school's a lot more accepting, so it's seen as they're an active student at their school. It's something to look on.
So it's more of a safety concern.
Yeah, for me it was.
LGBT individuals, lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender individuals. Emily, what about you?
Well, in my high school, I did attend the GSA a number of times in my freshman year, but as my high school career went on, I became more involved in separate clubs, and since I did not know what my sexuality was back then, I didn't see an interest in it. I didn't feel like I belonged there, although it was a very accepting environment.
Okay. I think it's a lot to ask a high schooler to have their life figured out. Know what you are, especially if you're not if you're lesbian or gay. I think it's a lot easier. At least when I was growing up, you're if you're gay, it was seen as okay, that's normal. But then
and so for listeners, JC, how do you identify?
Well, I'm trans and I'm pansexual, so that was where I'm from, being trans is a new thing. So there was one trans woman at my school, and when she came out, it was the talk of the town. In fact, it wasn't always positive talk though. I actually sat next to her in chorus class, so it was kind of funny looking back.
So it's time for a short break. When we come back, we'll continue to speak with SPEAK, Students Promoting Equality, Acceptance, and Knowledge, MXCC's equivalent of a GSA, or Gay Straight Alliance. JC and Emily will also talk about their experience their different experiences in college versus the ones they just spoke about in high school. This is Middlesex Moments from Middlesex Community College. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Middlesex Moments, coming to you from Middlesex Community College. This is Dr. Eva Jones, and I'm here with members of SPEAK, Students Promoting Equality, Acceptance, and Knowledge. I have two students, JC and Emily, and one co-advisor, Sue. We're all going to talk to you today about what SPEAK is and what it means to the MXCC community. But to transition from our last segment, Emily and JC were talking about some of the stressors for LGBT students joining GSAs and how the stress of outing themselves by being a part of that group was stressful for high school students. Emily, why don't you continue to tell us about that experience and how it differs now that you're in college and you're a part of SPEAK?
Well, when you're in high school, just about everything is awkward, from learning about new things with responsibilities of being almost an adult to learning about your own sexuality. For some high schoolers, the GSA felt like a safe space for them. Even if it did out them in the beginning, it was a space for them to fully explore and be accepted with their sexuality or their identity. In college, SPEAK was more of an open area where, yes, you are that sexuality, that identity, but now what are you going to do about it? How are you going to contribute to your community and your society about it?
I'll say, like, my experience is, it's kind of ironic because the S in GSA is like for straight, right? It's supposed to be like, it's ideally supposed to be a place for a lot more, allies to come in. And that's always what sort of like the lure, like, oh, don't worry. You can, if you're not out, you can just say that you're there as an ally, which is something I've definitely haven't had to do in my life. I've totally never had to lie about that. But but for the most part in college, I've noticed is actually when I've seen the most allies, just at meetings. Like, there's just people who show up and actually, no, I'm just a straight person who's really like supportive of you guys, and I think you guys should all get to have fun and be gay. And I'm like, yeah, we should be gay. You're cool.
That's how I started.
Oh, yeah, no, that is. Do you guys think that there's less social pressure on
Almost
identity
definitely.
in college?
Oh yeah. That's like, it's like the whole, like, the joke, like, oh, in college, like, everyone's like a liberal campus and, people experiment. But also it really is just, there's a more like accepting attitude in general. Like, I've had very few problems here.
Good, that's great. Sue, as an advisor who has a generational difference from the students, I mean, what does SPEAK mean to you? How is this so different from your experience?
So for me, I had no SPEAK club in high school ever. I mean, I'm going back a few generations. And to me, it's very important because I have I'm sort of this historical person in the group where I talk about what it was like in the 70s and 80s and 90s. And so I like that piece of that to connect to the community because back then when you came out, often you didn't have family to support you. And your family then became the community. And so you knew you were part of a greater community. And so I'm sort of feel like I give back to SPEAK in that sense. And I'm amazed because, when you think about the allies and you came in that way, you pretty much, most people kind of know early on about their orientation, even before high school. I know I did. And I would never have thought of coming out. So I think a lot of the students are just incredibly brave in that sense to think about high school, but then it has changed. But so I think it's just more of being a part of an open community that I love and the history of it, and also to see the progress. I mean, I think to me, going through all that I have been through, thinking of all the rallies and all the committees and all the things that I've been on, and now we've gotten to this point. It's been really rewarding.
Good, that's great. This says a lot for our community and for our nation.
Oh yes, definitely. I mean, it's amazing.
I'll definitely say that as well, and like echo on that. In addition, like, I've seen like a lot more like local support, like even my town, where historically, like, it or not, I guess it's like when I was growing up, it never felt very accepting. Now it's like actually, like, they're starting an LGBT committee for this for the town council, or at least that's something they're going to be working on and putting to a vote. And I think it's just honestly, like, that's it honestly it's great to see like people like the attitude shift in like a town that's really really well conservative, to be honest. But yeah, and so that's something personally like that made me feel more accepting in town, because when I came back, I came out in college, so then when I came back home, I was like, oh, is this gonna be okay? Am I gonna be safe here? Or
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
When I first got my girlfriend, I kind of tiptoed around the topic with my family, even though I had a great aunt that was married to another woman.
well, that
Well, it's always hard to come out. I
Oh,
mean,
it is very much.
the coming
Yeah.
out process is really difficult. It's scary because, I mean, there is a stigma throughout our society. Still even
to this day.
and even no matter how progressive we get, it's scary to make ourselves vulnerable to some of that.
A lot of it too is like things like heteronormativity, right? Like assuming that you tell your kid that they're gonna grow up and marry someone of the opposite gender, and then oops, accidentally they are the opposite gender. Who knew? Like and so it's a lot of it is just like how we raise our kids and making sure that we're making them so that way when they grow up they'll be in a society that is more, like doesn't have that stigma and is more accepting. Like I was reading an article from a biologist, a trans biologist, who said like it's a lot like left-handedness. Like it's when people like see, oh, there's so many more left-handed people. Like you probably know someone that's left-handed, but if you're looking at the stats, like there's this huge uptick. And what happened? Well, people just stopped caring and they stopped making it a big deal. And now it's just like a neat fact about someone. Yeah, I like the analogy. Sorry, I just wormed that way in.
Going back to childhood and recognizing LGBT themes growing up, what I noticed in a transition from my childhood to my sisters who are over a decade younger than I am is that a lot of the media that they watch, they have more LGBT representation, which I think is wonderful, especially because my sisters grow up and I messed up, but my sisters grow up in an accepting household and now in a slightly more accepting society than I did. And if they were to come out as whatever, then they would feel more comfortable.
Right, that's great.
I would, yeah. I mean,
So how let's shift to actually speak and what that means for the Middlesex Community College community. So why did you guys join Speak?
Several of my friends were in it, and I wanted to eat with them at lunch.
I was bored and I was like, I'll probably join the gay club. That seems pretty fitting.
Sue, as an advisor, why did you join Speak?
I joined because it's very it's great to be a part of the community, as the students say, but students are also doing a lot of work, a lot of fun stuff in order to promote and make sure that there is equality, that there's a gender neutral bathroom, that the pronouns are being properly used on campus, just basically educating faculty, students, and the community. And that's part of what we're doing here now. I mean,
right.
That's really, education goes through the Speak program. We're here for education, but also it's just important to understand, and also the evolving community. I mean, let's face it, it's evolving even from what I knew it as, and I'm just trying to keep up with it myself. So I think that Speak plays a very important role on campus. It not only educates students and faculty, but it educates the community.
Right, great. So why don't you guys detail some of your experiences with Speak to kind of elaborate on what Speak does?
Well, I always tell my members, because I'm always trying to like encourage them to get out more and to like it kind of, to be more like take an active role in the club. I say the club serves the members, not the members the club. And that's something I like to repeat a lot, because a lot of what I've been doing is like, I did like a table during like Intersex Awareness Day where I sat all day from, I can't remember the time now, but it was like 9 a.m. to like 2 o'clock or something. And I was just like, raising awareness for some issues. And that was something I just wanted to do personally. And so like, I'm always trying to encourage other members, like, yeah, like if there's something you want to do, like, and that either it can even benefit you if it's like, oh, well, I want to lead a project and then put it on my resume, like, go ahead, like, get
We
leadership.
do that. I mean, the club definitely does do that. Emily?
Personally, I became more involved in Speak this year because I came out the year before as bisexual, and I always had more friends in Speak that were just more open to having everyone there. They were very charismatic people. They were
Don't
always...
gesture at me. I wasn't there. I'm new
Oh, I'm
here.
gesturing in general.
No one can
But-
see the gesture.
Yeah, that's why
Sorry,
I felt
I'm
the need.
Italian.
That's why I felt the need to point it out. I was like, the viewers can't see that you're gesturing and
Right.
referring to me as this charismatic
Right.
individual, but like I wasn't there.
But I saw Speak doing all of these activities, and I actually went to my first Pride over the summer with the former president and vice president of Speak, and I fully saw the community of LGBT, and I really wanted to be a part of that more than I was before.
That's great. So it's time for another short break. When we come back, we will talk more about Speak and all of its activities, what it does, and its role here on MXCC's campus. This is Middlesex Moments. I'm Dr. Eva Jones from Middlesex Community College. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Middlesex Moments, coming to you from the Center for New Media in Middletown, Connecticut at Middlesex Community College. My name is Dr. Eva Jones, and I'm here with members and an advisor of SPEAK, Students Promoting Equality, Acceptance, and Knowledge. And we're talking a little bit about what SPEAK has done. And this year, SPEAK has done some really great things. Emily, why don't you elaborate on something that SPEAK has done this past semester?
I think one of the most successful events that we've held this particular semester would be the Pride Conference that the school hosted in one of our buildings in Chapman Hall. A number of campuses and a number of colleges that all had their own GSAs came to set up and be a part of this giant conference that was just a great environment of acceptance and learning about the different generations and levels of the LGBT community.
That's great. And so it was a system-wide conference?
I believe so, yes.
So was it other community colleges? Did we have folks here from other four-year universities?
We had folks from Tunxus, folks from
All the schools.
Yeah,
all the
I
schools.
think
Every single, all the
All the
single
other schools
school
are mad
came,
at us right now. They're like, oh man,
We had it was
capital.
a great turnout. We had over 175 students, almost
Something like
200.
that, yeah.
200
Yeah.
people attend, and it was a really great promotional, not promotional piece, but it was actually a really great celebration. But it was an educational part too. Stonewall came, Planned Parenthood came.
Right. It was so CSCU, for those of you listening, stands for the Connecticut State College and University System. So it was right here, in 2 floors up. We had over 150 people here to celebrate Pride.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think you meant Stonewall speakers, but I really
Yes, I
liked
did.
them because they had some really good people, and they had some really interesting perspectives. Honestly, it was a great event. Sorry.
Right. The Stonewall
The Stonewall
speakers
yeah.
spoke about their generational experiences as being LGBT individuals and growing up that way. And there's a lot of benefit to hearing what leaders of the past have done and what they've endured so that we can enjoy some of the progress that we were talking about in the previous segment today.
Exactly.
Today. So Sue, let's talk a little bit about what SPEAK does in terms of education and advocacy right here on campus.
So on campus, SPEAK students usually pick a topic at some point and that they're really interested in, that they want to delve down and educate the community about. In the past, we've had LGBTQ youth and the police, and then and criminal justice, and LGBT a trans student actually talk about what it was like to live life one way and then come out sort of as a trans person, and the experience that they had. And it not only educates the students on campus, it educates the faculty and the community, because we have an open session, and the students give this presentation that they've prepared for with us. And it's usually an hour, 45-minute long, with a question and answer, and we usually get a great attendance on that. Some of our ally trainings have been, we also work with other organizations that come to us and said that they're looking for student voices on, speak voices out on anything from medical records to medical information and some of the other pieces. So that's coming up. We did last semester in the spring, we did a panel on addressing naming. I think that was sort of it in medical records, and how to help medical records better better deal with name changes, sex change, gender changes, and educating that community really well.
And that's a real, I mean, that serves folks long beyond the boundaries of Middlesex Community College.
Correct.
So I think also we're supposed to talk about what's coming up, and what's coming up is really, really interesting. We got, for one, we're going to be going to True Colors. If you probably have heard of it, if you know anything about the LGBT community, it's like the biggest organization in Connecticut and hosts the biggest conference.
True Colors does a lot of work with LGBT youth and adults. It hosts annually the largest LGBTQIA plus conference in the nation.
Yes.
And this year we're planning something very fun. We are actually doing an educational segment on the flags and symbols of the LGBT community. In the end, the students and youth can actually decorate their own pride flags.
Yep, and it's called Speak Up and Raise Your Flag. Get it? Sorry,
The height of comedy.
It wasn't my event or my name, but I appreciate the pun. So
It was mine.
It's actually going to be a really great thing because symbols play a big role in the community, and it's how, in the old days when we didn't have clubs, you'd identify someone by possibly a bandana that they wore or something like that. So in the flags that we have and the triangles and all of the other, what they really mean, and they go back, 100 years to a large extent. I mean, so that's one of the reasons why this is a great topic, and I think the students will be able to educate. Not only we're going to have that on campus too as an ally training, and start with that first. So, and then we'll head out to True Colors with that.
But that's not the only event that we're planning this next semester.
There's a super secret. I can't even tell you the name, and it's just that secret. Not because we forgot, but it's very secret, very important. It's a fundraiser. I'm not going to tell you who the fundraiser's for, not because I'm forgetting, but
the fundraiser's for the foundation at the college.
I was pretending to have forgotten. I totally knew that, guys. And it's going to be a very great event. We're going to have a lot of fun activities. There's going to be some people. I'm going to be there. You're going to see Emily there. I think you're going to see our two lovely, our host and Sue there. So we're going to have.
So what will the fundraiser feature?
So it's not going to be an LGBT solely fundraiser. We are spearheading the event, but it is going to be a student-wide event that a number of students can participate, volunteer, and be a part of, where we are hosting a drag show. Yeah. We are ending with the drag show. We are having a fashion show, and we're even doing some variety and comedy skits as well.
Yeah, it's going to be open to the community, so if you're existing and you're in the middle and you're if you're on campus and you want to show up
so as our details flesh out here, right, and it becomes less secret
because it's still very confidential.
Where can people find information on this lovely fundraiser?
I think they can go into our Facebook group.
The MXCC Facebook group. Yes.
Also our Instagram page with the same name.
MXCC on Instagram, and MXCC's general Facebook will also feature the fundraiser details. So if you're interested in attending, please stay tuned. So we're getting near the end of our time here, but I think what I'd like each participant to do is to say one thing that they'll carry about MXCC Speak with them in their future. So JC, tell me one thing that you're grateful to speak for.
Sorry, that pun caught me off guard. I guess I honestly just some of the people there are really nice, and I'll probably carry friendships with them because I'm just sappy like that. It's the friends you make along the way.
That was mine.
I stole it. Sorry.
I suppose what I'll carry is the bravery and acceptance of Speak. So I was finally able to come out and be the happier version of myself.
The happiest. There is no other Emily that exists that is happier than you.
Well, I haven't gotten married yet, so.
Oof. Drop that bomb right there. Okay.
I think for me, I just think it's just a great experience. I love to see the students accept acceptance. I love to see accept themselves, educate me, because I think there is in the speak meeting that I'm not educated at, of something new that's happening that I have absolutely no about. Like, where'd you get what? So for me, it's been an educational experience. And then just I love all the events that we do.
Great. I'd like to thank JC, Emily, and Sue for coming on today's show.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us once again.
And thanks to you, our listeners, for joining us for another edition of Middlesex Moments. As always, you're welcome to visit us in person at our main campus, located at 100 Training Hill Road in Middletown, or at our Meriden Center, located at Platt High School at 220 Coe Avenue, where we offer our afternoon and evening classes 4 days a week. And of course, you can visit us online 24/7 at www.mxcc.edu. For Middlesex Community College, I'm Dr. Eva Jones. We hope to see you again soon. Thanks again for listening to Middlesex Moments.